Great. So I think a warm good evening to everyone. I hope Varun, just let me know if you're able to hear me, loud and clear. So
Yeah, I can hear
uh,
you.
great. Thanks for confirming, Varun.
Mm.
So welcome everyone. My name is Bharat, and I head community for Masai School. Great to have you all, in today's webinar on how to get placed in product-based companies as a software developer. Uh, Seeing a lot of students here, who are going to possibly start their careers in a few years or months, and we hope this session, gives you some perspective and direction, for the same. I hope you're able to take back some really interesting takeaways, at the end. I will like to quickly introduce Masai School. So we are a 21st century coding school based in Bangalore. We upskill tech aspirants in full stack web, Android development with zero upfront fees and allow students to pay only after they get a job of 5 LP and above. This is typically different from a traditional education system that you have been seeing. We believe in investing in our students rather than the other way around. Putting some stats in perspective, in the last 2 years of existence, we just celebrated our 2-year anniversary a couple of weeks back. 90% of our graduates across 6 cohorts have been placed at an average CTC of 6.81 NP and above. And interestingly, 60% of our students come from non-computer science or computer application background, something that we are extremely proud about. So great to see, I think we have close to 257 people over here in this webinar. Would love to know where everyone of you are like joining from. So can you just click your chat button and start putting the city that you belong from? Just type it out in the chat button. Wow, Mangalore, Gujarat, Jammu, great, Kanpur, Bhubaneswar, Mangalore, Udaipur, Kochi, Hyderabad, Udupi, wow, Maharashtra, Lucknow, Gujarat, Adoni, wow, West Bengal, Delhi, Ghaziabad, Kolkata. I think we have been, I think we have participation across the country. Great to see like, wonderful participation, coming, across, India. Thanks guys. Thanks for, doing that and joining for today's session. So without wasting much time, I think I'll quickly move on to introducing, uh, our keynote speaker for today's session, Varun Bhatt, who is here. Hi, Varun. So, quick background and snap about Varun's journey. So, he's basically from Rishikesh. He's currently a data structure and algorithm instructor at Masai School. He completed his bachelor's in computer science in 2016. And after that, he joined IIIT Hyderabad to complete his master's in computer science. Later, he worked with a very interesting company. I see a lot of people asking Varun to share his EA journey. Yes, Electronic Arts, where he was a software engineer for 6 months. He loves teaching computer science subjects, web development, programming languages, etc. And that's a very important reason, why he's here. And he's also teaching, students at Masai School. Before I hand it over to Varun, I'll quickly set some ground rules. Use the Q&A box to post your questions. We will take them at the end. Don't flood with a lot of questions or comments on chat option. Let it keep it like it is. Use the Q&A box to put all your questions. We'll pick up the relevant ones as it goes, but we'll have 15-20 minutes at the end to go through all your questions and clarify all your questions. So with this, welcome Varun. I will quickly hand it over to you and looking forward to this.
Yeah. Thanks, Bharat.
Yeah.
So, hello guys. As Bharat introduces about myself. In today's seminar, like you can say in today's session, I will go through your the whole process of how to get into a product-based company. Okay, it's not going to be a you can say a descriptive seminar where I'm just saying things and all those just describing things. It's just I will also share my experience with that. Okay, why those things are related to my experience. So I think this seminar will help you a lot. So 1 second, I'm sharing my screen. Yeah. So as I said, so today's topic, the topic for today's session is basically how to get placed in product-based company as a software developer. Okay. So the topics which we are going to cover today is all of these topics. Okay. So first of all, we will initiate with what is the basic difference between product-based companies versus service-based company. Okay. What are the myths? What are all those myths which goes in your head? Okay, while preparing for the product-based company. Okay, maybe the fear came in your mind. Okay, I won't able to do it. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I'm not enough capable. Yeah, I don't have enough knowledge and all those things. Okay. The third thing is what is the importance of data structure and algorithm. Okay. After that, I will tell you like how to work on projects. After that, what is the 5-step process of DC to crack coding rounds. Okay. And then we will move to what is the important steps to crack project interviews, because project is a very important part for like product-based companies interviews. Then then I will share you some like how the rounds in product-based company interviews goes. Okay. After that, I will share my interview experience in electronic arts, and then I will tell you how Masai will help you, how Masai will relate it to all those things. And the last thing is the surprise, which I will tell you like at the end. So basically, this is the thing which we are going to discuss today. So before beginning the session, I just want to know from all of you, like I just want to know like all about you, like how many of you students are from the computer science background and how are from the non-computer science background. So you will see a poll in front of you, in front of your screen. Okay, just poll it and just tell like how many. If you are from computer science background, then just click on it and submit. Okay. So the ratio is basically 57% students are from the computer science background and 43% are from the non-computer science background. Okay, there's a lot of mass, okay, which are from the non-computer science background. Okay, I will keep this thought in my mind, and based on that, I will derive my section. Okay, so let's move ahead. Now, the first thing is, let's discuss about what is the difference between product-based companies versus service-based companies. Okay, so basically, what is a service-based company? Like suppose if I am a full stack developer, if I am a developer, okay, I know how to design website. If suppose I have a knowledge of how to create the front end, how to create back end and all those things. Okay, so then suppose tomorrow later I will open a company, and where I will provide skills to other people. The client will come and he will ask me, okay, I want to please create this website for me. So I will work on that. I will work on those requirements. Okay. So basically in service-based company is actually those which work on the client requirement. It totally depend upon the client requirement. What requirements client is giving. Okay. It is totally dependent on that. So basically whatever the client is giving the requirement, I have to work on that and I have to create all those pages. Maybe client says, okay, just open a home page. You have to create a home page. You have to, make website for bank, government. Okay, you have to create the website for the you have to create all those phases, all the database and all those things. So you have to go according to the client. Maybe after 1 month, client say, okay, I don't want this. Okay, you just have to change it. So you have to change according to that. Your pay is actually depend upon the client. It depend upon the client how much client is actually giving to you. Okay, so the whole business is actually derived around the client. Whatever the requirement client is giving. Okay, so there is no place of creative ideas. So suppose you tomorrow come you told client, okay, I want to make it creative and I want to put my ideas. Okay, so it is not basically allowed there. Okay, in service-based company, it is not allowed that you put your creative ideas. Okay, project can be anything. Since you know already the service-based companies like Infosys, TCS, Wipro, and all those things, so the projects are come from from different varieties. So tomorrow you don't know like in which domain you are going to work. Okay, suppose today the project came for the front end, and suppose tomorrow the project came for some like machine learning thing. So the thing is very different. Suppose you don't know like what you are going to be work on tomorrow, and basically it creates an issue that like you won't able to like get mastery in one topic. It's just that you are actually keep switching on like different projects and all those things. Deadlines are mostly defined by the client will say, okay, I want this website, okay, and you have 2 days or you have 1 month, so you have to do that. So basically you are restricted by the client. You don't have like your own liberty to like to give creative thoughts and all those things. You only have to do that thing which your manager is saying. So that's why service-based company do the mass recruit, and like they are called as mass recruiters, because they just want those people who can just do the stuff which they can like provide them. Okay, that's why there are less salary, less hike, and all those things. So that is the difference. Basically, that is the first like explanation about the service-based company. Now let's move to the product-based company. Okay, as I say, service company actually derive according to the client. Okay, whatever the client will say, service like the company has to make decision according to that. But in product based company, if I take an example of Adobe, okay, since you already know the products of Adobe products are Adobe PDF, Adobe Photoshop, Adobe After Effects, and all the like many of products are there. Okay, so similarly Samsung has their phones and many things. Okay, so these company actually every year they will work on their product. They will try to upgrade their feature. Okay, next year they will basically they will actually they will launch a new version of that same product. Okay, so basically in the whole year they will work on their each of the product and try to upgrade them. Since you already know that in Microsoft Office every year new release will launch, like Microsoft 2007, 2010, like every year, like you can say that in every 2 years like they releases a new launch. Okay, and product based company, so that is the reason why product companies are not dependent upon the clients. It's just they are focusing on their product. And whenever you join the product based company, they will put you in a team. Suppose you are in a Microsoft Office team, and suppose later you join the Microsoft Bing team, the browser, the which is the Microsoft browser, and later you join something else. Okay, suppose you join Outlook. So these are different teams, and you will be work in the team like for a long time. Okay, and you will start to like upgrading the feature, and you have the liberty to implement your ideas. You put like you can give your ideas, you can implement those features. Okay, and the deadlines are decided by the business company. All the management will decide the deadline. It is not dependent upon the client or anyone. And the other companies actually buy their products. Since you already know that many company buy the Microsoft Office, buy Adobe Photoshop, like all those products from them. So this is the actually difference between. So the learning curve in the product-based company is very good and very optimized. You will get the liberty. You will get the you will get a place where you can learn a lot. Okay, and the community is actually very healthy, and you will get a like you will get high salary and like more hikes. So that is the basic difference between the service-based company and the product-based company. Okay, so now let's move to the next point. Okay. 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 Now, first of all, I just want to check the myths. Okay. So before going to myth, I just want to understand from you all. Just tell me how many programming language you must like. What you feel like? How many programming language one must know to crack a coding interview? Just poll. Do the poll and submit it. Okay. Someone put on the chat like my voice is breaking. Is it so? Does my voice is breaking? Okay. I think the problem is in their internet connection. So please. Okay. Okay. So the 44% of the audience think that, okay, there will be only, you need only one programming language. 32% says that you need two programming language, and 3 to 5, 22% says that, okay, 3 to 5, and 2% audience says that like you want more than 5. Okay, that is the biggest myth. Okay. As I told about myself, from initial days, I just stick to only one language, that is C++. Okay, and one language is more than enough. You don't want like any other language, unless if you have an interest to learn like more language. But the thing is, every language is like there is a vast scope in every language. You can say that there is a depth in every language. If you have a good understanding of one language, like every core depth of that language, then you can use the language as their tool. It is not just getting, okay, how for loops work, how if else work, and how variable declaration work. It is not like that. It is that you know the depth of the language, then only you can use that language like you can as a powerful tool for yourself. Okay, so I believe in like you must know one language, but you should know like in a very great depth. Okay, so right now I'm like my interest is right now is in Python. Okay, so and I have seen like a lot of codes in Python, how to write recursion codes and all those things. So basically, I can say that you must know one language, and one language should be in a very depth. Yeah, right. Go deep, but not broad. So now let's talk about the myths. So basically, the first myth is to work in a product-based company. The first myth is to work in a product-based company, competitive coding must be good. Okay, it is actually not true. Okay, just for coding round, it is right that you should have a good understanding of like all the competitive problems and all those things. But it is not right like to work in product companies, because in the based companies you are going to work in the basically in the product. You are going to work on the product feature, how to upgrade the product feature. Okay, and the second myth, which is like we are going to work on product development always. It is not that every day you are going to work on the product development. Every day you are creating a new product. It is just like you are working on a product but is already developed. Suppose you are in a Microsoft Office team. Okay, so you are actually working on upgrading its feature. You are working actually on upgrading its feature. It's not that you are working it in from the scratch. Okay, the third myth is it is very difficult to sustain in product based company. It is not true that, okay, whenever you put in a one team, okay, then you will be there in the same team for a very long time. Okay, and then you will understand the team, okay, how the things are actually working here. One of my friend, he was actually previously he was in a Google Chrome team. Okay, but later he will shift to his Google Pay team, like the Tez app. So basically, after 2 years, he got lose interest in the Google Chrome team. So he switched from Google Chrome to Tez. So there is a flexibility in the product based company. You can shift from one team to another team after clearing certain amount of time. Okay, after like you can say after 6 months or after 1 year, you have a liberty. Okay, you can switch from one to one. So just you can try new stuff, new things. Okay, the fourth point is I might not qualify the job tech interview because I'm not good in backtracking, dynamic programming, graphs. You are not going to use all these things, backtracking, dynamic. You are not going to use these things like basically in the product based company. In the job tech interviews also, they will not ask you the dynamic programming, these hard concepts. Like it is very rare that like they are going to all dynamic programs. So they will test you on like other like basic on the basic coding, like basically array strings and all those things. So you will see that by in my experience, I have like given a lot of interviews, and in that no one have ever asked me dynamic programming and backtracking and all those questions. The last thing is software developer used to write 100 lines of code every day. It is not true. Actually, as I said, you are going to work on a very small feature. Okay, it is not like you are it is not like you are like creating a whole product. It is just that you are working on a small feature. You will do the update, you will do the thing, you will write some code, and then that code goes for code review. Okay, after reviewing the code, only your code will be like merged with the product code, actual product code. It is not allowed that you whatever you are writing, it will get merged with the product code because it is a very riskier thing. Okay, and it is not allowed. So basically, whatever you write, the code review will happen. Okay, now after myths, let's move to the next point. What are the things needed to crack the interview? So basically, the first thing is data structure and algorithms. The second thing is projects, and the third thing is good resume. Okay, that is very important. So these three things we are going to focus on more on. Okay, so now, okay. Now let's move to the data structure. So first we have to understand importance of data structure. As I think like most of the students are from the non-CS. Okay, I will tell you what is data structure. Okay, just for now, just keep on listening it. The first thing is importance of data structure and how to choose right data structure. Okay, first let's understand what is data structure and how these data structure are actually used in our real life application. So first, what is data structure? Data structure is all about storing data. Whatever you have data, you want to store it. Okay, you want some space, you want something where you can store your data. After that, you will do some processing. But the first thing is storing data. So that's why data structure is all about storing data. The second thing is array. But the first type of data structure is array. Okay, so I'm taking about this is an array where you can put your data inside these blocks. So these are blocks. These are numbered in an increasing order 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can put your data here. Okay, so this is a one type of data structure. Now let's just see. There are categories of arrays. Like there is 1D array, 2D array, and 3D array. You can put your data in a one single linear fashion, in a 2D fashion, or in 3D fashion. So now after this, let's see where we can use our array. Okay, what is the application of array? So basically, the application of array is like suppose you have heard, like you already know about the app Book My Show. Okay, so Book My Show, and there are PVR Cinemas application where you basically use those apps to book a seat. Okay, basically the aeroplane booking system, like airplane ticket booking system, and Volvo booking ticket system. Okay, you have seen that in the app, it will show you, okay, there are number of seats and which seats you want to check, basically select. So right now all the seats are empty. Okay, so these spaces are denoted by these arrays. You can say this 2D array. Okay, so whatever seat you will check. So suppose you have chose this seat. Then in that case, this seat has some index value, and after that will goes green. Okay, and in that index you will put some value. So this is the data structure. This is I'm saying we are actually storing our data. This is not I'm talking about anything very different. It is just about how we actually book our seat. Okay, so here we are actually using our array data structure. Okay, so now our second data structure is stack. Our second data structure is stack. So what is stack? So you already know, according to the definition of stack, if you put something, like suppose this is a stack of, you can say stack of ice creams. Okay, so this is the first, there is a second, there is a third, and at the top of that there is a last one, this one. Okay, you cannot eat, you can say scoop. Okay, these are 4 scoops. So basically you cannot come to the last scoop till you eat the first 3 scoops. So basically this is the stacks. So now this is a data structure, how we can store our data. Now let's see where we can use it. So in the stack, how stack actually works. So suppose you put some data and you pop some data. Suppose you have pushed the data 1, you push the data 2, and there is a pop operation where you actually remove that operation. Basically remove the content. So in the previous one, you can see that this is a scoop of ice cream. You eat the first one. Okay, you have actually popped that. Then you popped the second one. Okay, and suppose the ice cream seller have given you another scoop, so he actually push it. So basically there is a push operation and there's a pop operation. So this is how a stack works. So now let's see where we can use. Basically in stack there is a first in last out operation. Okay, whichever thing is going first inside it. Okay, you already know that ice cream seller will put this scoop first, and this scoop will go at the end, because only when we complete the first 3 scoops, then only we will eat the last. So basically now let's see the application of stacks. So application of stack is actually the Google Chrome. Okay, in the Google Chrome, you already know that there is a there is a back button and there's a forward button. Okay, so whenever you open any website, suppose you open the Google Chrome. So whenever you open the Google Chrome will sit inside the stack. Then you open another website, then this website is this website goes into the stack. Then you open the third step. No, I'm not writing anything on the screen. So suppose you open the google.com, then google.com will sit in the stack. Then you open the another website, it will go into the stack. Then you will insert like something like this. YouTube, you have opened the youtube.com, then it will goes inside the stack. Okay. Now, if you press the back button, this back button, which is present in the Google Chrome, then what will happen? It will go to the stack and it will it will basically take this youtube.com and it will load it on the Google browser. If you again press this back button, then it will go to this website again and it will again load that website onto your in front of you. And if suppose you again press the back button, then it will open the google.com. So basically push pop is happening. So your Google Chrome is actually doing this, like all the browser actually does this thing, the back, so this back and forward button. So this is the real life application of data structure. There is one more data structure which is known as linked list. Okay, linked list is actually, there are data. Okay, there is a data and these data is connected. Okay, and the property of linked list is that suppose you want to access, you want to check what is the data of C. So you have to go from the start. You have to start from the beginning and then you only reach to C. Okay, if you want to check what is the data of C. So what is the application? You might have seen the applications like song players. You might have seen the song players. In the song player, what is the song player exactly like that? It is like, suppose there is a one song. If you want to play song 2, then you will move to the song 2. If you want to play song 3, then you will move to the song 3. If you want to play song 4, then you will play song 4. Okay. Now, if you want to play directly song 4 to song 2, then you cannot directly play song 4 to song 2. Okay. You have to go through song 3 first. You have to go through song 3 first. So this is why, that's why I'm saying it is a linked list, because I'm going in a sequential manner. No, it is not something related to queue. So basically, this is what I'm talking about. So this is a one kind of data structure. Okay. And there's a one kind of data structure. The last kind of data structure, which I'm telling you, is the graphs, where there is a nodes. Okay. And each nodes are connecting. Suppose you use the Facebook. Suppose you use the Facebook. So in the Facebook, each of the nodes are actually you, and the connection is basically you are the friend of one another. Okay. Now, if I move to the application of graphs, you have used the Google Maps. In the Google Maps, if suppose you want to go from Tamil Nadu to New Delhi, so this will work like that. So basically, Tamil Nadu to New Delhi, it will show you this is the path to go from Tamil Nadu to New Delhi. Okay, but it will also show you the other paths. Like there is also other path of going from New Delhi, like Tamil Nadu to New Delhi. And if you again, like, it will also give you the third path. Okay. And out of these 3 paths, it will tell you, okay, this is the best path. So basically, this is all about, like, you can say this is all about data structure. So I have given you like these 3 examples to make you understand, okay, what is the data structure is all about. Data structure is all about storing data. Okay. So now after moving to the algorithm, what is algorithm? Algorithm is basically something like this. Okay. We have used the graph to store our Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala. We have used our, basically we have used this node to store our data that Tamil Nadu is present here, Karnataka is present here. But who is calculating this distance from here to here? It is actually the algorithm. It is actually the algorithm which is calculating these, basically what is the nearby distance and all those things. Now there is a basic sorting algorithm, selection sort, bubble sort. Okay, I think some of you already know about this. So sorting algorithm basically means I have given you some numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, some numbers like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you want to sort it. Sort it means basically putting these number in a sorted manner 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically these algorithms we have. So these one is the best. So why I'm saying these are best, because the time which they take is very less. Okay. So basically these are our algorithms. So now why algorithm is actually so important? Now, if suppose you are using this GPS system, okay, you are using Google Maps. So if you don't have any like good algorithm, in that case, you won't able to calculate the distance. So your algorithm is actually doing the thing of calculating the distance. Okay, what is the distance from Tamil Nadu to New Delhi and what is the best possible distance? Okay, so right now you are using the Google map. It is actually using some algorithm. Okay, so there are some algorithm to calculate the distance. So these are the algorithm, but the best one is the Dijkstra. Dijkstra is used by all the GPS system. So that's why we used to use it. Okay, that's why understanding of algorithm and data structure is very important. That's why the understanding of data structure and all those things is very important, because it will help you to, like, suppose tomorrow you are going to work on a product. In a product, you are going to use the data structure and you are going to use the algorithm. And if suppose you have used the wrong data structure and if you have used the wrong algorithm, in that case your product will not work. It will go fail. Okay, right now in this situation you have seen that. Okay, one question which I want to ask you, like, just tell me which one of these is not an algorithm. Just I want to know how much you have understood like all of these things. Just submit your answer and like click on your answer and submit the poll. Okay, so 73% says that heap. So it's right. Actually, binary search, quicksort, and merge sort is an algorithm, but heap is not an algorithm. Okay, so right. So now let's see. Okay, how data structure and algorithm help me. I want to share my experience with you. Okay, so when I was in a college, so basically when I was in a college, I worked on this project. So the project is basically the Wikipedia search engine. Okay, so we have to work on this data, 80 GB of data. In this Wikipedia search engine, we have to put some input. Suppose I have put a word like suppose Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, and in this Wikipedia search engine will search the word Mahatma Gandhi, and it will output me all the pages which is related to the Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, suppose Mahatma Gandhi, which page will come up, and after and also the other pages will also come up which is related to Mahatma Gandhi. Suppose Mahatma. Okay, so suppose the son of Mahatma Gandhi page, Mahatma Gandhi will also come. So that's why it will show me all the pages which includes the term Mahatma Gandhi. So basically, this is the search engine which we created. So and the data is 80 GB. 80 GB data basically means if you are putting something on the search, okay, something on the search, it is searching in this 80 GB of data, and it will really it will take a lot of time. So but my challenge is in the project, actually the challenge is the expected output time which our college is expecting is 3 to 6 seconds. Okay, but while I was like writing the code, after writing the code, my output time is actually 50 seconds. Okay, and can you imagine, like suppose you went to Google search engine, okay, and you search something. After searching something, you got to wait like suppose 50 seconds. You got irritated. You will get like very much irritated if you like wait for 50 seconds. Okay, you like Google. The fact is that because Google is giving you the result in just few milliseconds. So that's why my expected time, my output time is actually 50 seconds. So what I have done, I actually reviewed my code. I analyzed all the things whichever I have written there, and I have replaced all my dictionary. Like there is a data structure which is known as linked list. So I told you already told you about that list, and I have replaced the data structure by dictionary. So I reviewed my code. I changed my data structure this to this. Okay, and then after my results were actually mind blowing. So the result which came is out to like the expected output time is actually 3 seconds, but my output time at that point is actually coming out to be like less than 1 second. In less than 1 second, I'm getting my result. So now can you imagine moving from 50 seconds to less than 1 second is a very like is a very large difference. Okay, so that is the beauty of data structure and algorithm. And if you not use it wisely, then in that case it will create a lot of, like you can say, it will create a lot of problem in your product. So that's why product development is very you can say uh, mm, like uh, uh, like you have to do these things very safely. So important ingredients for a product development, suppose whenever you work for the product, so there are these three things are involved: data structures, algorithms, and design. Okay, whatever design you are putting in there. So for product, whenever you went to the company, so when you went to the company, when you work in the product based company, okay, so when you will work in a product, in that case, you have to make sure what data structure you're using, what algorithm you are using, because that will affect the basically product, like a product performance. Okay. So that is the thing. That's why the product-based company actually take the coding interviews and all those to check your mind, like mental ability, like your aptitude ability, how good you are in all those things. Now let's move to the next thing. Okay, now working on the projects. Let's move to the project and let's see how can you start a project. Okay, if you because as I already told you, like you need data structure knowledge, you need algorithm knowledge, and you should need a project. Okay. Now, so first of all, you have to define your domain, like in which domain you want to create a project. Either it could be front end, either it could be back end, or either it could be full stack development. Okay, full stack develop, like front end basically means the front screen. Whenever you open facebook.com, whatever you see, it is a front end. The back end basically means whatever you chat you are doing, whatever your notification is coming. So it's all possible by back end. There is an app development. Okay, what domain you want to choose? What system do you want to do system projects? Like you have to first define your domain, like in which domain you want to do the project. After defining your domain, you have to define your project, like which project you want to you want to work on. Is it an e-commerce web application? Is it like Flipkart, Amazon, or is it a blogger? Is it a chatting web application? It is a clone web application. It is a CRUD web application. Like what type of web application you want to work on? Clone web application basically means you are creating a clone of Instagram. You are creating a clone of basically Flipkart. So yeah, do you want web crawler? Web crawler is an application which actually move around in your basically web crawler collect information from some website. If you run a web crawler in suppose facebook.com, it will fetch all the results, like all the basically data of the Facebook. So basically there are many projects are there with the application file sharing system, like in which project you want to work on. No, basically clone doesn't mean a copyright thing. It is just you are creating a like exact same thing of that same application which is already exists. Okay. So now let's move to the another one.
Varun,
Yeah.
there was a question in the last slide, like you mentioned data structure, algorithm for the product and design. So could you just define what does design mean here? I think it would be helpful.
Okay. So basically the designing means is, okay, when I'm talking about the designing, so designing basically means the front end part, how your product will look like. Okay. You will not use Facebook if the Facebook will not because the it has been surveyed that in the research it has been shown that the probability you will access a website, you will go to the Flipkart or you will go to the Amazon, it is basically based on the looks. Okay, we are the people, we basically judge on the looks. Okay, so design part is actually very important because your website or anything application should be look attractive. And if it is not looking attractive, then in that case you will basically audience will not come to your website. Okay, so the look of website is also very important, and the data structure and algorithm is the backend part. Okay, where you actually implementing the algorithm, how your stuff will work and all those things. So there are many like application where I think you are using many application on your Android phones, and like the application and it could be anything like WhatsApp and all those things. So the front end, the design part is actually very important. So design part basically means whatever user is basically interacting with, all the buttons and all those things. So you have to define your projects. Now the third thing is you have to learn respective technology. After understanding after defining your projects, okay, I'm going to work on this project. Now you have to move on, like now which technology I need to work on. Basically, I first have to study. So basically there are Bootstrap, React, and all those things. After fixing it, okay, I'm going to work on Bootstrap and all those things. Then you have to move to the next step. And these are the challenges which you will face during while you will create a project, while you are working on the project. So the challenges are how many tables are required, which architecture to follow, Okay, choosing databases, what database you want to know. Okay, some terms might you don't know about it, but these are the questions which are basically asked in the interview. When you learn any of the web framework, then you will understand, okay, you will get familiar with all of these terms. Choosing database, which database you want to use. Okay, writing corner test cases, writing code according to company standards, how to write the code according to company standards, how to deploy your code, basically how to you put your code on the cloud. So these are the challenges which you will face, and these are the questions which are basically actually asked in the interviews. Okay, so I have seen people, and also I've also experienced in the interview. These are the selected questions. Okay, so these are the basically these are the these are the important point which you must have to cover. Basically, what cloud is actually something where you put your when you create an application. After creating an application, you actually deploy your application on the server. Okay, so it could be Amazon server or anything. Like there is a Microsoft server, so that is cloud. So now, how to prepare DSA for product-based companies? So basically, this is a common thought process. How students think, okay, I'm going to prepare for the product-based companies. So the first point is, I will buy a course on Udemy, or I will buy a course on some online platform. After that, I will solve some DSA 500 questions. And after in the end, coming to the third point, okay, yet I will get to the big company. So this is the basic thought process. The student thought, okay, I will actually, these are the things which I will follow, and I will get into a product-based company. So the main question is it true? Is it true that like this actually works? So now there is a 5-step process. So the first step process is good understanding of basic concept. You should have a, like for DSA, I'm talking about data structure and algorithm. We should have a good understanding of basic concept. So in good understanding, I'm actually focusing on the point why we are learning this, what is it, how to apply. If I talk about my experience when I was in a college, okay, we in our first semester we used to have a class of basically algorithm. In the algorithm class, our senior used to taught us the basic concept. Every week they used to take our 2 classes where they taught us the concept of linked list, stacks, data queues, data graphs, and all those things, all other concepts. So they are actually, in that case, they are our mentor. Okay, so they used to give us the direction. Okay, you just have to do these things. So that's why I'm saying good understanding of basic concepts required. These things, these 3 points. Okay, and these 2 points, for these 2 points, you need a mentor, and it could be anyone. Okay, but he should have an experience on all those topics. After that, the third thing is how to apply. So basically, this is the part where students have to work on how to apply. Like when you learn the basic, after learning the basic concept, now you have to work on basically how I'm going to apply those concepts in real world problems. So this is the step 1. The step 2 is solving right kind of problems. Solving right kind of problems. So solving right kind of problem basically means after understanding the basic concept, now you have to move to the problems part where you will, while attempting the problem, you will feel, okay, how to deal with errors, how to basically, whenever bug come, okay, how to fix it. So this is your part where you have to fix it. Okay, so solving right kind of problems is very important, because then only you will understand, okay, how to deal with the errors. The step 3 is, and in my college time, actually, like during my time, and like there was like in 1 week there were used to 2 coding competition, okay, every week. So basically on Wednesday and Saturday we used to give HackerRank competition of 2 hours, okay, every week. So on Wednesday and Saturday, so basically on sitting in front of computer and solving the problem for straight 2 hours, okay, it actually helped us to basically like whatever we all have learned. Okay, after that we actually use our knowledge on those problems. So solving right problem. So this is the point where solving right problem is very important. Basically dealing with errors. You will understand how to deal with errors. In the third part, discussion with others. Okay, so after solving the problems, now you need to discuss with others, because after solving problems, you after discussing the approach, you will get to know, okay, how others are approaching the same problem. and you will understand that what are the multiple approaches of the same problem. You will learn from others, you will discover new test cases. So these all things will happen. So basically in the step 3, you have to discuss with others, and those others are those students which are moving toward the same goal, which are moving toward the same, basically like suppose they all have the same goal of going to a product based company. The step 4 is discussion with mentor. After discussing the solution, after discussing the approach with others, now you have to verify your solution, whether the solution which you were thinking is right or not. So you need some validation. For that, you need a mentor. So in the step 4, and then step 5, you need to take an evaluation. You have to take a contest. You have to check yourself in a time bound manner. Okay. Basically, when you will, because in product based company, the first round is always the coding round. And when you sit for the coding round, there were 3 to 4 problems, and you have to solve those problems in a time bound manner. So in the step 5, you have to put yourself in the situation where you have to try to see yourself, okay, whether I can solve the problem or not in a time bound manner. So that is the thing. So this is the 5 step. If I sum up all the things, the step 1 is good understanding of basic concept, which is basically giving you a strong foundation. The step 2 is actually giving you the solving right problems, is actually giving you the it is making you understand, okay, how to understand the application of that basic concept. In the step 3, you are discussing with others. Okay, it is actually giving you the different perspective to see the same problem. And the step 4 is discussion with mentor. It is actually giving you the clarity. And the step 5 is actually giving you the mastery. So that's why I'm saying these 5 steps are very important, because then only you will understand, okay, which data structure I have to use where, which algorithm I have to use where. So this is not a one-day thing, or you can say, if I solve 200 problems, I will get the intuition, okay, which data structure is important, which algorithm is important. Actually, it is a process, okay, and you have to move in this process, and you have to discuss with others, and you have to figure out what are the other solutions. Okay, and now let's move to the rounds of product-based companies placement. Okay, what are all the rounds of product-based companies? So the round 1 is basically an online coding test, where suppose if I take an example of Adobe, Adobe basically asks 3 problems of different levels. So basically the problems are easy, medium, and hard, array, string, and graph. Okay, and you have to solve the problem in a time-bound manner. So they used to give 2 hours, and in 2 hours you have to solve all those problems. Type 2 is actually Amazon. In Amazon, basically they used to ask 25 computer science subjective questions. And after attempting those problems, now you have to solve 2 coding problems. So that problem actually medium level questions. Okay. So, and the other one is Samsung. So basically in Samsung, they used to ask 3 coding questions. So you can see a pattern that round 1 is actually based on, for all product-based companies, the round 1 is actually stick to the coding questions, coding rounds. Now let's move to the round 2. In the round 2, there will be a technical interview. Okay. There, the interviewer will share a Google Doc with you, and you have to discuss the solution with him. Okay, and he will tell you, okay, I'm giving this question to you because this is one of the question which like I remember that one of the interview asked me, and he shared this question in the Google Doc with me, and he told me, just read this question and discuss the approach. Okay, so basically in this type of interviews, the interviewer is not expecting the final solution. The interviewer is only expecting the thought process, like what is your thought process? Okay, he's not expecting the final solution. He's expecting what is your thought process. How do you think a new problem? How you progress and move toward the better solution? Ability to think test cases. So these are the things which interviewer is expecting. There are many interviews which I have given, okay, and in none of the interviews I have seen that the interviewer is actually expecting the final solution. He's just saying, okay, what are the process I'm following, in what ways I'm moving towards the better solution, okay, and how actually I'm tackling the problem. So this is a technical interview 1. So basically he's focusing on the thought process. Now let's move to the round 2, where is technical interview 2. Now in the technical interview 2, basically the interviewer will focus on the project, whatever project you have done. Okay, he will see, okay, why you have chosen this framework. He will ask you the question, which database you have chosen, how the framework was. Do you know MVC framework? How many tables are required for your project? So these are the questions which are only related to your project. Whatever project you will do, based on that, interviewer will keep on asking you the questions. Okay. So that's why now round 4 is basically the general discussion. It is basically the education and background of your all. Framework basically means the framework are just React, okay, Angular JS. So in framework, it is very easy to code because there are already predefined libraries are there. Okay. Suppose you want to create a button. Okay, now you don't have to work on the you don't have to write the code for the button. You just have to use the predefined functions. Now I'm going to share my Electronic Arts experience. Okay, so in the round 1, like basically they asked me 3 coding questions which need to be solved in 2 hours. Okay, now in round 2, basically there is a technical round 1. In this round, actually interviewer asked me the questions on data structure. Like he asked me implement the stack on paper using the object-oriented programming using classes. Okay, he told me to like implement the stack. After that, he also asked me some few questions on logic on like linked list, like logic on deleting the node, logic on counting the nodes. These are the questions which he asked me on the round. He's actually checking my data structure knowledge. Okay, like how much I know. So after moving to the technical round 2, in the technical round 2, he asked me a one coding question where he told me to wrote the logic on the paper. Okay, and after that he asked me what is the time complexity and what are all the stuff. He basically keep on discussing, like he discussed the whole solution with me. So first I wrote the logic on paper. After that I discussed the solution with him and I verified that okay, it is working. So after that I qualified with this round and I moved to round 4. So this round 4 is actually based on the projects. Okay, in this project round, the interviewer actually has done the discussion on project. Okay, and he asked me the one question, like what is the best project of your resume? Have you ever done any project based on client server? So basically why he asked me the question of like have you ever done the project based on client server or not? It is basically when you play games in the Electronic Arts. Okay, so you already know about the game FIFA. So there are many clients which are connecting to the same server. So that's why he asked me the question around that, whether you have already worked on the thing which we are working on right now. So Electronic Art is basically is on the client server paradigm. Like there is a client and who is connecting to the server to play the games. So that's why. So after that, after this round 4, he moved to the round 5. There is a thinking ability test. Okay, in which interviewer asked me a question. He gave me a situation-based problem. He told me that, okay, I'm your customer. Okay, I'm your customer and you are the vehicle seller. You are the vehicle seller and I came here in your vehicle shop to buy a vehicle. Okay, but I don't know which vehicle I want. So you have to ask me the question. And by asking question, you have to figure out which vehicle actually I need, like which vehicle actually fits my requirements. So I keep on asking him the question, okay, which type of vehicle do you want? Is it two-wheeler or three-wheeler or four-wheeler? So he told me two-wheeler. After that, okay, I figure out that okay, he only want two-wheeler. After that, he asked me I asked him another question, whether you want the bike for your own purpose or your office purpose or some other. So he said, I want this vehicle for work purpose. So based on that, I figure out that okay, what thing he want. So basically, this is a situation problem. He actually checking my thinking ability. Now that how am I actually thinking this problem? How am I figuring out that what vehicle the customer wants by asking right type of questions? So now round 6 basically the HR round. She basically asked me the question of like, have you played any games of EA and all those? And I also asked her the question like, what is the work culture in EA? How was your experience so far? So these are the basic things. These are the general questions. So now let's move to the surprise thing. So this is the surprise. So basically I tell you what is that. So basically now let's focus on the resume. So the resume should be one page. Okay. There will be no spelling mistake in the resume. Projects and technology should be mentioned clearly. Projects and technology should be mentioned clearly. You have to describe your project in 2-3 bulletin points. So basically these things are very important. And the the one thing which is very important is one page resume. Student basically prepare their resume in 2 pages and 3 pages. Okay, so that is not actually a good thing. So always make your resume in 1 page. I will show you a sample resume. Okay, this is my old resume, and in this resume actually there are a lot of spelling mistakes. Okay, that's why this resume is not a very good resume. So after that I created this one. So basically this is very specific to my domain where I've worked, where in the which project I've worked on, tools and technology. I'm not focusing here about my extracurricular activities and all those things, because the resume is basically going to the company and company is actually hiring you. So he's actually seeing your technical skills. He is not going to focus on basically what extracurricular activities you have. Okay, so this is a surprise. Okay, I will share you this resume on the Discord channel. So okay, for now let's move to the next one. So now how Masai will help you. Now after coming to the end, I just want to tell you like how Masai will help you like to getting all these process. So as I told you, like to get the mastery in the DSA, in data structure and algorithm, you need the first step, good understanding of basic concept. For that, in Masai, we have a concept classes. I am an instructor of data structure and algorithm in Masai. So there are concept classes in Masai. Okay, where they used to focus on your basic concepts. Okay, what are the basic concepts, stacks, queues, and they will give you the direction. Okay, how much you have to like understand this topic. You don't have to go so much deep. Okay, so basically they will act as your you can say as a mentor. Now after that, the second thing is solving right problems. So solving right problems, basically there is a coding platform in Masai. Okay, that coding platform known as Online Judge, where we used to have 1600 problems. So we used to like after teaching them the concepts, we used to give them some set of problems to solve in the steps. So this is the solving right problems part. Okay, where you have to face the problem, deal with others. Now step 3, there is a discussion with other batchmates. Okay, so in the Masai, like there are many batches are going on. So there are batch which is known as Ninja, Spartan, Samurai. Okay, so you will basically studying in the batch, you will get the benefit of like of all the people which are moving towards the same goal. So you can discuss the solution approach with others. So that will help you. So the step 4 is basically discussion with the mentor after every class, after every problem session. There is a problem solving class where we used to discuss all those problems where student got stuck. So this is the part, and the last part is evaluation. At the end of every week, there is actually evaluation where we used to check how basically what is the understanding of the student, how much a student understand all those topics. So basically these 5 steps are related to all those steps which I told you earlier. Okay, and I have also gone through the same 5 steps. So now like you can see these 2 images of Instagrams. Okay, so can you tell me which one is the real? Which one is the original? Please finish the poll. Okay, 75% students say that okay, A, and 25% says that it's B. Okay, you are right. Actually, it's A. So basically, this B image is actually created by basically this one is the origin, and this one is actually created by our Masai students. So I want to show you Masai student projects. So there are some projects which where Masai student worked on. So the first project is Facebook clone. So this is the Facebook clone which they have worked on. So you can see that they have created the functionalities. Okay, so every part, like the newsfeed part, the messaging part, okay, and the personal profile part. There's an Instagram clone also they have worked on. So this is the thing. You can see the another page. You can see this is the 3rd page. This is a chatting page. Okay, so this is the 5th page. And you can see that here you can put your all photos. So it is very similar to the Instagram. Now, there is a third project that is known as Myntra Clone. You can see that this is the Myntra one. Okay, there is a sign up page and this is a home page. So you can see that they have created these web application very similar to the real ones. Okay, so that is the thing actually. Now let's move to the other one. Okay, 1 second. I'm able to move to the next slide. Okay, so now the last thing which I want to share with you is the basically there are no shortcuts. Okay, and you have to enjoy the journey because it's a long process. Okay, it's not like you want something it's not like a very small piece of cake. Okay, when you will eat it, okay, you will grab all the things. So you have to basically you have to cross each hurdle. Okay, as I told you, the 5 steps. Okay, and you have to go through each of the steps. Okay, and master each step. Basically you have to clear each step in a very great way. So talking about my experience, as I after completing my bachelor's, coming to the master's, I have seen that I've changed completely. Okay, I've gone through all of these process. Okay, and I've seen that key only basically creating pressure and basically solving a lot of problems. Okay, and working on the environment where all students are working going towards the same goal actually helps me. So basically this is a part where you have to enjoy your journey, and the final note is the opportunity. Okay, even actually I graduated from IIIT Hyderabad. So even you prepared everything. Okay, you prepared all DSA algorithm and project, but there is a one last thing which we all needed. Okay, in my college, actually, there were 70 companies which used to come. I sit for 40 of the companies. Okay, so I only able to crack the interview because I got the opportunity to sit in those many interviews, those many companies. Okay, I got the opportunity to sit in Google. I got the opportunity to sit in Apple. So basically, there are a lot of companies are there. So this is only possible because of the college where I was. Okay, so that's why I'm saying being in the right institute is also very important, because when you are on, I believe that okay, you can also prepare all these things by your own. Okay, if you are enough sincere and if you have enough all determination, all those things. But the final point came here where you have to basically where you have to you need some opportunity where you have to show your skills to the product based companies. Okay, so you refer the LinkedIn and all those things. So the last part is actually very challenging. So that is the thing. So okay, thank you all.